happens
What does
without
that mean?
you
Does
and
that
the
mean that they're
Department
just going
of
to
War.
keep lasering?
Thank you all
They're going to
so
end all
much
fishing
for everything you're doing around this table.
in both the
working
Atlantic and the
tirelessly.
Pacific.
And
There's just
President
no
Trump,
more fishing. If
thank
you're in
you
Latin
for
America,
giving them
you
the
just
ability
are
to
not
do
allowed to boat. Use a boat.
Thank you.
So cute, my little Hasanito.
Okay, that was not a bad week. He said somewhere 18 or 19 were murdered. And you know what his excuse was? Yeah, but that was a long weekend. Okay? Can you believe it? He said that was a long weekend. He's bad. And the mayor is worse. I mean, that mayor is worse. Low IQ, very low IQ. And we don't need low IQ people. We need people that are going to take care. And I love Chicago, and I love those beautiful women. Black women, beautiful women wearing MAGA hats, and they're all over the place in Chicago. They want protection. They don't care if it's the National Guard, if it's the Army, Navy, Coast Guard, Marines. They'll take Space Force, okay? Space Force, send them in. They just don't want to be mugged, killed, raped, shot in the head, and we stop it. So we're going to be given a very special we're going to give Chicago very special care. As you probably know, maybe you heard, we were going to do a big surge in San Francisco, but I got a great call from some incredible people, some friends of mine, very successful people. Mark, everybody knows him, and Jensen, everybody knows Jensen, NVIDIA, and others called me from San Francisco. And they said, we're working really, really hard with the mayor, and we're making progress. Would it be possible for you to hold off the surge? And I had 4 or 5 calls, and I think they're making progress of their own. That would be the greatest. I mean, if they could do that, that'd be great. And they have great competence in those people. I mean, incredible competence, some of the smartest business leaders. And they're working very well with the police department. They're doing a good job. So we are holding off that surge, everybody, and we're going to let them see if they can do it. I said, I think we can do it much faster. I know we can do it faster. I think we can do it better than anybody. We can take criminals out that they're not going to know about, and probably they don't have the legal authority maybe to do what we can. But I'm okay with it, and we're going to let San Francisco, has the potential to be, it was a great, great city, has the potential very quickly to be a great city again. And these are the companies that are there that are all working, and those are the people that asked me, could you do away with the surge, and let's see how it works. And we'll do that. If we need to, we'll do it. But it's possible that we won't need to, and we will be focusing on other places like Chicago, and we'll have Chicago taken care of very quickly. But just remember, 11 people shot, 4 people murdered, okay? And that was this weekend. And that was Chicago. And then you'll see Pritzker get up and talk about, well, we have it under control. They don't have it under control. Just the opposite, it's getting worse. So we'll take care of, as soon as we give the go-ahead, which is all I have to do is give the go-ahead. We won the big court case the other day on the National Guard. That was a good case. Same thing with Portland, speaking of that, because that's where we won it. But, I mean, I looked the other night, Saturday night, Portland is like burning to the ground, and these people are saying it's just friendly stuff. The whole place is burning to the ground. So we'll take care of that one. That's like an insurrection more than it is anything else. That's crazy. Portland's crazy. And then you listen to these radical left people talking about it's really okay. You're seeing things. You're really seeing things. So we're going to take care of Chicago. We're going to take care of Portland. We're going to take care of Memphis. We're proud of D.C. There's nothing to take care of anymore, but we're not going to let it ever go bad. It's never going to happen again, our nation's capital. And with that, I'm just going to tell you that Pam Bondi has done a fantastic job. And Pam, would you say a few words, please?
Thank you, President Trump, and thank you for your leadership. And this is all about collaboration. And around this table, I'm looking around this table, we all work so well together. I don't think another administration in our nation's history has worked so well together. We talk constantly, Secretary Noem, Tulsi, Pete, constantly, but also all of our agencies working hand in hand, and that's why this is so successful. And these people around this table are working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, even though the Democrats have tried to shut down the government. Terry Cole, I'm laughing because you're around the clock, you're all over the world. Director Patel, you're unstoppable what you're doing around this country. Gowdy Serralta, U.S. Marshal, Rob Sakata and Dan Driscoll wearing your ATF hats. Rob, I was on the texting, Todd Blanche and I were on the texting you at 1 a.m. on cases. I mean, that's how committed all of these people are to just keeping all of our citizens safe. And that's what it's all about. And this project is the brainchild of Stephen Miller. And you are doing so much to keep our citizens safe, our kids safe, and get these drugs off our streets. Like the mayor of San Francisco and I are going to be meeting on fentanyl in a few weeks and working hand in hand on that. Secretary Noem spoke to him. But the results of this last month have been historic. As the president said, in the last month, think about this, 3,200, more than 3,200 violent gangs and drug dealers have been taken off the streets. Off the streets. Now, Director Patel and all of these agencies have also been working so hard on getting the leadership. But we are getting all the gang members off the streets and the drug dealers, Sinaloa, CJNG, MS-13, and more, TDA. 91 tons of drugs have been seized as a result of this task force. We tried to put this in perspective for you. This would be filling 4 18-wheelers, all the drugs just in the last month that have been taken off the streets. 58,000 kilos of cocaine. Think about a big backyard swimming pool. That would fill 1.5 swimming pools. Just the powder cocaine that has been removed, saving lives this last month, thanks to all of these people around the table. 2,300 kilos of fentanyl powder and 2.1 million fentanyl pills off the streets. And as the president said, more than 1,000 illegal guns. The Biden administration was, for way too long, all of these great law enforcement officers surrounding the table were not able to do their jobs. What they've said is now they've been uncuffed. They can do their jobs now. We've been watching transnational gangs grow in our country, become organized, set up infrastructure in all of our states, but no longer under President Trump. We are destroying the infrastructure, and we're no longer on defense. All of these great men and women are on offense, so they better get ready. We're dismantling the cartels, and we are taking the leaders into custody and all of the gangs. We are going to supercharge this work. This is not a pilot program. This is permanent. We are here to stay.
What is that?
And Secretary Hegseth, we couldn't do this
What does
without
that mean?
you
Does
and
that
the
mean that they're just
Department
going
of
to
War.
keep lasering?
Thank you all
They're going to
so
end all
much for
fishing.
everything you're doing around this table.
In both the
working
Atlantic and the
tirelessly.
Pacific,
And
there's just
President
no
Trump,
more fishing.
thank
If you're in
you
Latin
for
America,
giving them
you
the
just
ability
are
to
not
do
allowed to boat. Use a boat.
Thank you.
Mr. President, since the year 2000, we have lost over 1 million Americans to drugs, to overdoses, to these cartels that have proliferated that kind of a disease on our people and have gone to war with our next generation of Americans. When you signed the executive order that was protecting the American people from invasion, what you did is that you took these cartels.
I think America is basically greatly overextending its hand in Latin America and is begging for Chinese intervention. Because at a certain point, the Latin American countries are going to coalesce around one another because they have a long-standing history of intervention that the population despises. And therefore, any kind of U.S. intervention of this sort, especially direct military intervention, is always going to draw a lot of negative reaction. And if America keeps doing this stuff, if America keeps doing this shit, I feel like I assume they're doing this because they want to escalate to a real boots on the ground war, like a hot war. And I don't know how much the countries outside of the periphery are going, especially industrial capitals, are going to allow their trade partners to be destroyed this hard. This is not about Venezuelan governance.
operations that you've targeted in the Caribbean with the Department of War.
This is not about any of that.
Thank you for the leadership you put at this table, for your cabinet members, for Stephen Miller, for putting this in place to make sure that
This is more so about
consolidated
America's endless need for direct intervention and endless need for militarism
streamline them into this room.
with no repercussions whatsoever.
So that we can look at each other in the face every day.
Yes,
and say,
I'm talking
"What's our
about
problem?
the
How do we
CELAC
address
zone of
it? How do we
peace.
fix it?" And then we go to work together with our
But I don't know
arms
how
length to do
valid this
exactly
is.
what you told us to do. And that's not just protect the American people from invasion, but to kill these terrorists. You gave us the task to eliminate them, destroy them, so that they can't destroy the next generation of Americans. So thank you, sir. Thank you for the people you put around this
Thank you
table.
very much. That's a great job. Thank you. Pete?
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership. Chief, likewise, Tulsi and Todd and Dan and Pam and Christy and Stephen and Cash. I mean, I could go around the table. From the Department of War, we are thankful and grateful for the incredible effort that your agencies put in. And we could not be more proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with you, not superficially, not kind of over here, but front and center on the Homeland Security Task Force, right there with you. Because our department has spent over 2 decades defending other homelands, and we're very proud to be defending our own. And if you talk to the troops down
can't
the
believe it.
southwest border, Mr. President, morale is sky high and continues to be.
This is
They're
yet
proud to be
another-
defending their own communities, their own
This is
states,
yet another thing that I have
and
warned
so
against
when that executive order
over
was
and over
signed,
again,
the mission was
demanding that the
protecting
Democrats
the
actually
American
offer
people
clarity and truth
and so the Department
as a
of War
counter to the lies that were being presented by the Republicans. The notion that drugs were actually coming in on the backs of regular border crossers. The notion that the best, most successful way to limit overdose deaths was with criminal apprehension of this sort, increasing the intensity of these militant actions.
Hunting ISIS. Well, as the president said,
None of this is actually solving the problems. None of
the
it.
Western Hemisphere. They intimidate. They
If anything, it's
terrorize,
making the situation worse.
They poison the American people. The president's right. Every boat we strike is 25,000 Americans whose lives are saved because of the drugs that were headed in our direction. So our message to these foreign terrorist organizations is we will treat you like we have treated Al-Qaeda. We will find you. We will map your networks. We will hunt you down, and we will kill you. And you've seen that evidence in the maritime domain, whether it's in the Caribbean or in the Pacific with the last 2 strikes. We know exactly who these people are. We know what networks they work with, what foreign terrorist organizations they're a part of. We know where they're going, where they originated from, what they're carrying. And they know we know. And that will soon start to change the calculus of these boats. So the critique of this is, of course, as often is the case, wrong. We know our authorities. It's locked tight. And we're going to treat them like foreign terrorist organizations on the offense. So the Department of War is not going to degrade or just simply arrest.
Oh, my
We're
God.
going to defeat and destroy these terrorist organizations to defend the homeland on behalf of the American people, making the jobs of law enforcement safer in the process, making the communities of Americans safer in the process. We think it's a very core mission of the Department of War, and we're proud to be here, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Pete. Thank you. Tulsi, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. The key reason that you are hearing about these incredible effects is, number one, the team that you've assembled here and the leadership and the tone that you have set, first and foremost, about keeping the American people safe. The intelligence community plays a critical role in being able to support our law enforcement, the federal, state.
The more I see stuff like this, the more I understand that, quote, the first victim of fascism was the truth. Because now that they've established that they can just lie about everything and there are no repercussions for it, no interest from the opposition to correct the record, now they can just say lies about everything that they're doing. Oh, are we severely escalating our endless militarism in South America? Why are we doing that? Because they're narco traffickers. They are drug cartels that are narco terrorists, and we must kill them. Wait, it comes out that the boat that you lasered was actually a bunch of fishermen. Doesn't matter. They were still drug traffickers. And if you're against this, then you are a drug trafficker yourself. And we will come after you, and we will apprehend you, and we will treat you like a terrorist as well. That's what it is. That's what's going on. The first victim was the truth.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars in this single incident with drug proceeds through his network. And I'll say the last example I'll share is probably the most insidious, was providing intelligence. Last example I'll share is meant that led to the arrest
You must live in a gated community?
a CJNG
Really?
cartel-affiliated
What does
baby
this have to do
trafficker called
with
Madiaba.
that?
Her
I
whole
don't, but
money-making
what does that have
operation
to do
was
with
centered
anything?
around luring pregnant women, performing illegal C-sections, harvesting organs, and selling newborn babies. Mr. President, it's your leadership that has made all of this possible. I can tell you, in the midst of this government shutdown, our folks, like everyone around this table, are working 24/7 without pay and eager to get after this because they believe in your leadership and the mission that you have presented to them. Thank you, Mr. President. I'll hand this off to Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller, the leader of this task force.
Let me just say, Mr. President, that this country was going to die without you. This country was going to actually die without you. That's what we were facing in 2024. We've been invaded for 4 years. Our communities were sinking. Our public safety had gone to zero. Cartels were running entire communities. Sex trafficking, child trafficking, labor trafficking was out of control. Overdoses were out of control. The cartels were claiming more and more territory. City services were buckling. This was a country on the verge of dying, and you alone saved it. And when you stepped forward originally in 2016, you started the movement to make America great again. And that means make America great again in every way. And that means safety and prosperity and peace and freedom from cartels and crime and gangs. And your vision and your leadership in declaring war on the drug cartels is the single most successful public safety initiative.
He is Goebbels incarnate, 100%.
And I need the media to understand what President Trump has done. People have been talking about drug cartels for longer than I've been alive. And everyone has just taken for granted that they can't be touched or stopped. They're too big, they're too powerful, they're too evil, they're too murderous. They can operate with impunity. And in just 9 months, President Trump is the only American leader, not just in our lifetimes, but ever, to actually take the fight to the drug cartels, to actually seek their eradication. And it is happening. And so while the Democrats are shutting the government down and fighting for free health care for illegal aliens, look at what President Trump has assembled here. He's assembled a team under his vision, direction, and leadership that is saving hundreds of thousands of lives. Hundreds of thousands of lives. And only President Trump could have done this. And I will say one last thing, which is that his courage has been an inspiration to everyone else in this room. There are people in this room, I'm looking at, for example, at Todd Lyons, who have been relentlessly doxxed and harassed and threatened. But when they see President Trump's courage, what he's been through for 10 years to save America, when they came after his family, his businesses, his safety, his freedom, everyone at this table knows we can give...
Dog, you guys are sitting around a table talking about how you killed 36 fishermen and how awesome it is. Thousands of miles away, by the way. The fuck do you mean the bravery you exhibit for wholesale slaughter of random foreigners off of their own fucking coastline? What are we talking about? Wow, how brave of you. Thank you. Thank you for exhibiting the bravery to justify the assassination of random fishermen, dude.
In a lot of ways, not just this. We were dead as doornails on this, but we were a country that was in serious trouble and beyond that. And we have the hottest country anywhere in the world right now.
Oh, my God.
The whole world is talking about it. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're going to clear up this crime in our cities. We can do it quickly, too. They showed how quickly we could do it in D.C. It was a real bad place. It was a real mess. Dirty, filthy, disgusting, graffiti all over the place, tents on every ounce of parks that we had. Just disgusting. And I rode around last weekend. I rode around the city. I felt very safe in that car, but, I would have done it without it. I wouldn't need that car so much anymore, I will tell you. But the place was clean. We've started that also, not only law and order, but the cleanliness is important. I think cleanliness is almost a part of law and order. If you see dirty, disgusting streets and potholes all over the place and railings falling down and graffiti all over the marble, beautiful statuary marble columns, those gorgeous columns where they had graffiti. It's all gone. And I think it's a part of it. I really do. I think it's a big part of it. But we have a city that we can be proud of. We're going to be that way with every
he's
city
an
we have.
urbanist,
That's
yeah.
why with San Francisco, I wish him luck, but we could do it so much faster. I told the mayor, I love what you're doing. I respect it, and I respect the people that are doing it. They're the biggest people in the country. They're the biggest people in the world. A lot of the high tech. Some people like them, some people don't, but they're smart, and they want to do it. And I said, I am so honored to let you do it, and if it doesn't work out, we'll do it for you very quickly. But I just want to thank the people around this table are amazing. Cash, please go ahead.
Mr. President, I'll just keep it short, but I think what the media should realize is the amount of courage it takes to do this. And you led that mission. You led it during your campaign, and you brought it to the American people. I think the media should focus on some of these numbers the Attorney General just riled off. Those aren't numbers, those are lives. Lives saved by the millions. Enough, enough fentanyl to kill over 200 million Americans, gone, evaporated off our streets permanently. Your vision to safeguard American freedoms and our children and our future is the most courageous thing I've ever seen a president of the United States ever do. And your ability to marshal it out in 8 months, these statistics would have taken other administrations decades. And the partnership that you see around the table, I just want to, sum it up with the following. When I call these folks around the table, when I call our state and local law enforcement partners who have been absolutely critical to this mission, when Stephen Miller called me and said, we're going to create the Homeland Security Task Force and the FBI and DHS are going to co-lead it, I said, absolutely. The country's been yearning for this and needing it. And the one thing I see different than any other administration is when I call these people, they pick up. I don't get a voicemail. When I make an ask, they answer, and the same is true. And so the FBI is playing a pivotal role in your administration in helping lead out this mission, and Stephen's vision has finally come to life. And instead of attacking the people at this table, maybe the media should go out there and talk to the lives that have been saved forever and the communities that have been safeguarded, because it takes courage to do that. It takes courage to implement that plan, and it takes a president and President Trump to put a leadership team like this together. We are actual friends, and I know the media doesn't want to call us that, but we do that. We do hang out. We do work together. It's a 24/7, 365 mission that doesn't turn off, Mr. President. And as Stephen said, we're inspired by your leadership, and this country's thankful for these 8 months, and I can't wait to see what the next 4 years looks like.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Cash. Great job. Todd, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The number that I think matters, over 3,266 terrorists have been taken off the streets in 2 months. And for each of those arrests, there's anywhere from between
Is he just
4
clickbaiting now? He says Trump makes an announcement and it's just him rambling? I mean, that's how it is every time.
those arrests.
Every announcement session is just a glaze sesh followed by Trump rambling about how great he's doing.
So what I will say to them is thank you.
I mean, this is the AMLO method. Actually, this is a successful method of communicating with the masses. The difference, of course, is that like AMLO actually had shit that he could present every day as a good thing, like expansion of welfare programs, expansion of like, infrastructure projects, things of that nature. For him, it's just, we killed 36 fishermen. Isn't that awesome? It's just, there's not really much that he could be defending. So he just ends up rambling along. And I'm sure that it annoys people.
Terrorists or rioters, they will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. When politicians aid these terrorists by trying to give them comfort,
AMLO didn't have people sitting around him glazing him. He talked directly to the press in a difficult environment every single morning for 2 hours, unscripted. Trump could never. Yeah, I'm the only thing that I'm saying is like medium-wise, format-wise, it's like it's playing a similar role. It's Donald Trump cutting out the middlemen and trying to directly talk to his base. That's what he's doing. But to limited success. To limited success for two reasons. Number one, because there's not much to promote and not much to feel proud of. Okay? And the other reason is because, like you also correctly pointed out, it's just like long rambling sessions where everyone around him is just fucking glazing him. And the less popular the administration gets, I mean, this is like 22,000 people watching, right? Like AMLO had hundreds of thousands of people watching every day when he did the 2-hour sessions. But the longer these like self-suck ramble sessions goes, and the longer people feel a certain type of way, a negative way about everything that's going on around this administration, the more people will be like, all right, dude, do something for me.
But we'll accept it, right, fellas? But we have closed borders. We have people coming into our country, but they only come in legally. We have the strongest borders we've ever had. We might have the strongest borders of almost any nation right now. And that's a big difference from what it was 2 years ago when everybody was pouring in.
Yeah, they also, Tulsi Gabbard referred to Stephen Miller as the leader of this task force right after Hexas spoke in Trump's afternoon briefing.
Into our country. Nobody can do that. Only a stupid person would have accepted it. And that's what we had running our country, very stupid people. So we're not happy with Venezuela, I will tell you. Yeah.
Mr. President. Thank you, President Trump.
You okay?
Yes. On fentanyl.
We're going to lose
Sorry
it.
about that. On fentanyl,
we have
President
some
Trump.
good medical help right over there. That's all right.
On fentanyl.
He sounds like
according to
RFK,
CDC
bro.
Data, nearly 330,000 Americans died over the past 5 years from fentanyl. That's 1 in every 1,000 Americans who died.
It's more than that, but that's all right.
Yes,
It's
I
more.
know you think it's even more.
I'll be discussing that with President
Yes,
Xi.
so that's actually my question.
I figured it
I
was.
was wondering, since it
He's
mostly
so
comes
brilliant.
from
I
China
figured
and
it
it's caused
out.
such carnage in the U.S.,
Yeah.
what are you going to say to convey the seriousness? And also a second question for you or Secretary Hegseth. Is there any evidence that China is now smuggling fentanyl through Venezuela to bypass U.S. and Mexican port controls?
They are doing that, yes. But they are paying right now a 20% tariff because of fentanyl. That's billions and billions of dollars that they're paying. We're actually, on November 1st, the tariff on China goes to 157%, which is record-setting territory. And we don't want that because it's not sustainable for them. They can't sustain that. We don't want them to have to go through that. So I'm meeting with President Xi, and I would say we have some big issues, like with the farmers and various other things. But the first question I'm going to be asking him about is fentanyl. And if you think about it, they make $100 million. Think of this. They make $100 million selling fentanyl into our country, $100 million. They lose $100 billion with the 20% tariff. So it's not a good business proposition. It's $100 billion approximately that they have to pay. It's a big penalty to make $100 million. So I think they want to do something. They want to put it on the list. It's on the list. It's one of the things we're talking about, and I'm putting it right at the front of the list. So they pay a very big penalty for doing that, and I don't think they want to be doing it. And we'll see what happens at the end of next week, because I'll be meeting next week, as you know, along with we're stopping in Malaysia, we're stopping in South Korea, we're stopping in Japan. I'm meeting with President Xi actually in South Korea. So it'll be the first thing on the list. Yeah, please.
Yes, Mr. President.
On the drug boats, sir, has there been any discussion about capturing one so that you can show the amount of narcotics?
We know everything about them. Yeah, Jennifer. We know everything about them. We know where they're coming from, who they're coming with, generally who's in the boat. I'll let Pete discuss it a little bit, but they have incredible intelligence. And you know, usually when you see 5 engines, I've never even seen that before, but when you see 5 engines on a boat going about 65 miles an hour, loaded up with white powder in silver cases, generally speaking, that's not a good sign. They're not going fishing, right? And you don't see any fishing rods, right? So, Pete, I'll let you discuss that a little bit, please.
Well, yes, sir. Likewise, generally you don't see fishing in submarines either, sir. So the U.S. military, as I mentioned, nobody better in the world at mapping networks, identifying who's connected to who, inside terrorist organizations. It's just the media.
I can't explain this enough. Even if they had credible intelligence that these guys were drug traffickers, which they do not, but even if they did, what they did is still illegal. Okay, what the American military did is still illegal. There is no world where you can just decide, oh, these guys are doing a crime, I'm going to kill them. That's not how this works. That's not how it's supposed to work. Of course, when America does it, given the absence of any sort of pushback from anyone else that has equal amounts of power and influence on the global stage, you just have to look the other way. But even in the past, the American government, knowing full well that if they wanted to maintain their status as the world police, would try to, at the very least, create a permission structure and an environment of legality with bullshit reasoning and things of that nature. They have completely dropped all notion that there is any need to justify these actions. They just go, they're criminals, we said so, shut the fuck up. Now, of course, it was still mind-boggling criminality when Barack Obama was doing his drone wars, okay? And the internal calculation that he was doing about proportionality and whatnot, that was still silly. It was still illegal. But the fact that they are even less restrained now means we are moving into the next phase of overt fascism.
Amazing. But we have the Gulf of America, and there are very few boats, very few boats, not even fishing boats, to be honest. I don't want to do that to the fishing industry, but it's been so effective. And our sea drugs, as they call them, they use the term sea drugs, the drugs coming in by sea, are like 5% of what they were a year ago, less than 5%. So now they're coming in by land, and even the land is concerned because I told them that's going to be next. You know, the land.
Oh, God.
And we may go to the Senate, we may go to the, Congress and tell them about it. But I can't imagine they'd have any problem with it. I think, in fact, while we're here, I think it's a good idea, Pete. You go to Congress, you tell them about it. What are they going to do? Say, gee, we don't want to stop drugs pouring in. They're killing 300,000 people a year. I think that's the real number, 300,000 people a year. So between that and my discussion with President Xi, I think we have never made progress like we've made. The sea drugs are almost dead, and they can't come in that fast from the land. And the land drugs are much more dangerous for them. It's going to be much more dangerous. You'll be seeing that soon. So that's the way it is. Yeah. Go ahead, please. Yeah, go ahead, please. With the glasses, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Good.
I wanted to ask, what's your reaction to Representative Dan Goldman calling on NYPD to arrest ICE agents who he says are acting illegally? He says they are illegally assaulting people and illegally detaining people at immigration courts in New York.
Where are you from?
Well, I know Dan, and Dan's a loser. You understand. He's a guy that doesn't have what it takes.
What outlet
He's
are you
been trying
from?
so hard.
Who's to ask me such a question?
And they're exhausted. I mean, it's so ridiculous, right? A suggestion like that. So, they're just trying so hard, and it's not working. They've even now started imitating me, of all people. They want to imitate me, and they start using foul language, but they use too much of it. You can't use the F word 7 times in one sentence. It doesn't work. It might work once every 7 news conferences, but you can't do it. You can't do it 7 times in one sentence. So I don't know. They're really they're in big trouble. That party. Go ahead.
Mr. President. Some alleged smugglers have survived some of these recent strikes and been sent back to their home country. If they're terrorists, why not just arrest and detain them?
Go ahead.
2 points on that. First, when I served in Iraq in 2005 and 2006, we used to, in sort of a gallows humor way, talk about the Iraqi catch and release program, the reality that we would catch a lot of people, hand them over, and then they would be recycled back through, and we'd have to recapture them or attack them again. And that's why changing the dynamic and actually taking kinetic strikes on these boats.
Bro just said it, like, it's just straight up. He's just saying it.
To those 2 that were, that,
I mean,
that
what a
survived
psychopathic
semi-submersible.
person.
Think again, compared to Iraq and Afghanistan, the vast majority of people that we captured on the battlefield, we handed over to the home country. Did we always like how it shaped out? Sometimes we did, sometimes we did not. But 99% would go to the Afghan authorities or the Iraqi authorities. So in this case, those 2, they were treated by American medics and handed immediately over to their countries where they came from, hopefully to face prosecution, which is a very standard way of handling something like this.
And you'll do that with future survivors, anyone else who survived?
We've got protocol of how we'll handle it.
Not that guy. He's so hopeless. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yesterday, there was a vote at the Knesset on annexing the West Bank. Do you see it as a challenge to your peace efforts?
Could you say that louder, please?
Yes, yesterday there was a vote at the Knesset in Israel on annexing the West Bank. Do you see it as a challenge to your peace efforts?
Will you answer that, please? Because I cannot understand the words you're saying. Where are you from? Where are you from? You're from France, beautiful accent, but we can't understand what you're saying. Huh?
She said a vote at the Knesset on the West Bank.
The West Bank is, don't worry about the West Bank. Israel's not going to do anything with the West Bank, okay? Don't worry about it. Is that your question? They're not going to do anything with the West Bank. Don't worry about it. Israel's doing very well. They're not going to do anything with it. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Thank you, President Trump. Are there any safeguards in place to protect Americans from fentanyl and cartels when you leave office in 2028? Any protocols that could be put in place in case a future administration comes in that wants open borders? And I also have a question for the Secretary of War as well after your answer.
Well, the
if that's
biggest
okay.
thing we can do is make sure they don't come in, because open borders, they would destroy. It's amazing that our country is even surviving with what we went through, coming in by the millions and coming in from the wrong places. You know, I know all these people that run these countries, and they're smart. They're very street smart, and they're not sending their best, you know. They're not sending, they're taking them out of their prisons and their mental institutions, as I say over and over again. They're the drug dealers. They're the drug addicts. They're people that don't work. I mean, the best of them are people that don't work. They don't work. They're on welfare, their form of welfare, which is tiny. You know what their form of welfare? They give you a piece of paper. They give you nothing. But they want people that work. They don't let those people come out because they want those people. You know, they cherish those people. Those are the people that make their country run. They give us all of the people that don't work and are murderers. 11,843 murderers came in. 11,800, many of them committed, more than 50% committed more than one murder. Now, why do we want them? Why would Biden and that group of thugs that he had working for him, why
Migrants
would they
coming in
accept
by
these
the
people?
billions. I missed it. I mean,
Why would he accept? Nobody
another day,
understands
another
it.
number
You
that
know,
he
they
just
say
pulled
maybe
out of
they
his
wanted to
fucking
vote,
asshole,
but I did
dude.
great with the Hispanic
Classic.
vote, but these are people from all over the world. Why would they do it? So one question, no matter what I do,
I feel
can't,
bad for Americans.
You
This guy's
always
crazy.
Like to know,
yeah, I do too. And then I sometimes meet Americans in the wild who love him, and I think we kind of deserve him. I think America's victims don't deserve him.
most of which should not have been allowed into our country. It's one of the great enigmas. What they've done to this country should
I
never
didn't miss the
be
French reporter
forgotten
asking about
in
West Bank
history.
annexation.
Should
He
never,
was
ever
like,
be
French is a
forgotten.
beautiful
Now it
accent,
looks
but
like
I don't
we're
know
gonna
what
have
you're
a communist
saying.
Mayor in New York. Have to go through the White House. Yeah, please go ahead.
The founder of Binance. Can you explain why you chose to pardon him, and did it have anything to do with his involvement
Caitlin
in your
Collins.
Which one? Who
family's?
is that?
The founder of Binance. He has
Oh,
a involvement in your own
The
family's
recent
crypto
one, yes.
business.
I believe we're talking about the same person because I do pardon a lot of people. I don't know. He was recommended by a lot of people. A lot of people say
I don't
that.
know.
Are you
I
talking
pardoned
about
a lot
the
of
crypto
people.
person? A lot of people say that he wasn't guilty of anything. He served 4 months in jail, and they say that he was not guilty of anything. That what he did. Well, you don't know much about crypto. You know nothing about. You know nothing about nothing. You're fake news. But let me just tell you that he was somebody that, as I was told, I don't know him. I don't believe I've ever met him. But I've been told by a lot of support. He had a lot of support. And they said that what he did is not even a crime. It wasn't a crime. That he was persecuted by the Biden administration. And so I gave him a pardon at the request of a lot of very good people. Yeah, please. Yes, Daniel.
President, thank you so much.
This is the kind of question I like.
Yeah,
right here.
the numbers from this task force are jaw-dropping. I wanted to know, this is a question for you and both Stephen, since it was said this is your brainchild. What are the lessons to be learned from the success of the task force, and what are your continued goals with this task force now that you have about 3 years left?
Well, the best thing we have going is we have such talent around this table. I could go over every one of these men and women, and we have unbelievable talent. They've got the naturals, you know, like somebody that hits a baseball or a golf ball or a, you know, that you see more, it's more evident. It's beautiful because it's sports.
By the way, in terms of the Binance guy, the reason why he fucking dropped him, I mean, I think we all know exactly why he offered a pardon to him. He is lying when he says, oh, I don't know anything about him. I got recommended. First of all, that's a ridiculous thing to admit. Can you imagine what people would say about Brandon? As a matter of fact, he has said that about Brandon. That's what he talks about when he says the auto pen. The auto pen. When he talks about Biden pardoning people, he constantly talked about that. Or he's like, he doesn't know these people at all. Meanwhile, here he is openly admitting he doesn't fucking know the person that he pardoned, except that's also a lie. He does know. And the reason why he did it is because those guys actually pumped his fucking cryptocurrency. It was a case of open corruption. Okay? Not only did he turn around and neuter the SEC and made it virtually impossible for the SEC to like even go after financial criminals in the regular stock market, but it made it all the more difficult to even go after the less regulated or virtually unregulated security exchanges on the cryptocurrency marketplace. And beyond that, the previous investigations that were concluded, he basically pardoned if they fucking bought his loyalty. It is straightforward, open and shut, quid pro quo.
Different. And you know, we took a lot of bad people out, never to come back again. Then most of them never to come back again. But there's great talent and there's also great courage. I've been watching what goes on, and then you have the radical left lunatics, and what's that all about? I mean, they're fighting us because we want to stop crime. Where do these people come from? They're paid money. I guess they're paid a lot of money. But like I saw that ridiculous march the other day, I say, these people are not representative of our country. And not all of them, of course, but many of them are total lowlifes. These are lowlifes. These are people that are paid agitators, and they're not representative of our country. So I don't know. I can just tell you that our country has tremendous spirit right now. You know that better than anybody because you cover it well. But we have a lot of people that are very happy right now with the direction. They did a poll the other day. The direction of our country is better than it's been in 37 years. And I'm upset because I think it should be better than that. I actually said we should be better than that. So, you know, thank you very much for your question. Brian?
Mr. President, yes. Thank you, Mr. President. You guys have done an amazing job in Memphis. Some of those numbers are staggering. And we've gotten message on social media wanting to thank you for that. But I think, can you talk about the number of missing children you guys have discovered in Memphis? That's amazing.
Well, it's hundreds of thousands were lost through Biden and the Biden administration. And we are getting a lot of them back, but they're either dead, they're slaves, they're captured in some form. But think of it, hundreds of thousands we're talking about. Not even believable. And they came in through the border. They were sold. They were bargained for, and this was all Biden, meaning Biden and Obama, the same mentality, frankly. I think it's the same mentality. Let me tell you, Barack Hussein Obama was a lousy president. A lot of bad things happened. Remember when they used to talk about Trump with the jail cells? Well, he built the jail cells for the children.
Used them. You used them. You also shit on Barack Hussein Obama for doing extrajudicial drone strikes, and now you do it daily to random fishermen.
2 weeks, and then they found out it was Barack Obama that built those.
This is unironically the argument, it's bad when a black guy does it, it's good when I do it. Like, how is this in any way, shape, or form? How is this in any way, shape, or form coherent for people? Like, he literally is saying, when Barack Hussein Obama did it, it was bad. When I did it, it was really good. I'm doing it. It's great. Like,
I don't want to have.
I can't. It's both. Sports. It's in the same vein as like the partisanship demonstrated here, where it's like political polarization is at an all-time high, where he just goes, when the Democrats do it, it's evil. They must be punished and prosecuted. When I do it, it's actually good. Okay, that's all he fucking keeps doing. That's all this is. And the reality of the matter is, there is a moral through line here. There is a morally consistent position, which is it's bad when Obama does it, and it's bad when Trump does it as well.
What kind of impact would that have on public safety?
Well, it's not good. I guess it's not a very nice place, but you need it. You You need something. You have a lot of additional people in New York City that should not have been here. They came here through the open border, through Biden's. You know, I don't know how they even do it. New York City.
Yeah, he would shit on Obama and Biden for taking days off. He shit on Obama for golfing. He golfs more than any other president. It's just straight up like everything that he has accused his political enemies of, he has done a millionfold. Think about the Hunter Biden shit, okay? Hunter Biden, absolutely a nepotism recipient, okay? He is a nepotism recipient. That much is obviously clear. But if you were to think that Hunter Biden had a dramatic impact on like U.S. foreign policy by way of his father, who was the vice president at the time, you are fucking delusional, as opposed to the fact that Donald Trump's son-in-law is seen as the key architect of the Abraham Accords. And in the process, he's been able to get $35 billion from the Gulf nation states that he is aligned with. Are we fucking kidding? Like, what is happening? Like, does no one think anymore? This is what's so frustrating about it, where it's like, no one cares. No one fucking cares. Trump gets to do whatever the fuck he wants. He gets to say whatever the fuck he wants. And honestly, there is no opposition to it whatsoever. At least there was some opposition from the media last time around where they were like, this is like transparent corruption. What the fuck's going on? This is a violation of the Hatch Act. We have completely dropped the ball on every aspect of this administration. All of the severe escalations, all of the severe creeping towards fascism. Not a single one of those things gets the immediate attention necessary. I get it. It's all systems go. I get it. They're hitting every fucking avenue they possibly can. But the fact that there is no accountability whatsoever, or no demands for transparency, no demands for accountability whatsoever, is alarming. It comes across as like full submission.
Reason not to. You know, they'll always complain, oh, we should have gone. So we're going to definitely, I'd like to just tell you, let's go. We'll go. We're going to tell them what we're going to do, and I think they're going to probably like it, except for the radical
I never
left
thought I would
lunatics.
see the day where I would say, like, I want the debunkers back. I want them. I want the debunkers. Where are the debunkers? You know, where are they? What's going on? Where's Daniel Dale? Bring Daniel Dale back every fucking day. Okay? Put him on the spotlight. Have him debunk everything that he's saying. Please. I missed the debunkers. I was wrong. I misswoke. I was wrong. Okay? I misswoke and I missed the debunkers.
Okay.
I was annoyed.
Yeah.
I was annoyed with both of those things. I was annoyed with the liberals, okay? I was annoyed with the left, and I still am to this day. I was annoyed back then, and I still am. But it doesn't matter. I would much rather have those guys as the opposition as opposed to these guys, okay? It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I would much rather have woke get out of hand than have whatever the fuck is going on here get out of hand, because they're doing cancel culture way more aggressively than the liberals ever could. Instead of making you feel bad about something that you said that they're like bastardizing or whatever, or greatly exaggerating or whatever, these guys unironically are going, you're a terrorist, you're going to go to jail. Or if you're not living within the U.S. boundaries and you're not an undocumented or documented migrant, if you're a documented or undocumented migrant, they just jail you regardless, okay? And then if you are outside of the periphery, if you are outside of the U.S. borders, they just fucking laser you from the sky. And then they talk shit about how you were a drug trafficker after the fact. What the fuck is going on?
Narco-terrorists is an important inside our hemisphere, which for far too long, other presidents, as the president pointed out, they've ignored our own backyard and allowed other countries to increase their influence here, which only threatens the American people. We're changing that.
One big thing that has happened, though, because you mentioned expansion and expand our efforts. So when I was running for office, second term, everybody was talking about the fact that nobody wanted to join the military, nobody wanted to join the great police force. They didn't want to join New York's finest or any of our police
a lie.
forces.
Portland isn't burning.
There
have been protest clashes near one ice building.
The country with the uniform.
Federal agents used tear gas and smoke
we are
Saturdays.
setting
Oregonian reported the
records
canister
with
sparked small
Army,
fires that rain quickly
Navy,
put out.
Air
Fire department
Force,
wasn't even
Marine,
summoned.
Space Force, Coast Guard. We're setting
There's my debunker.
records. We've never
There's
had
my goat
anything like it.
debunker.
And I'll tell you when it started, November 5th. We didn't even have to wait till January 20th. They saw spirit. And now we have people coming in that are, it's unbelievable. And if we wanted to increase our military force, if we wanted to increase any one of these, including police forces, they can now get men. People didn't want to be policemen and women. They didn't want to be firemen and women. They didn't want to go into the military. We were having tremendous recruiting problems, and now we're setting records. We literally, last year at this time, you were doing stories that the recruitment was a disaster. We couldn't get men and women to go into the military. Now we have such an overabundance. We've never had, I mean, it's, as I understand it, it's like record-setting recruitment. This is in less than a year. It's been amazing. So this is a good time to expand if we want to do it, and I think we should. I think we should, and we probably will. Yeah, please. Yeah. Blue.
A couple questions for you. First for you and Secretary Hegseth. Is the administration supportive of sending National Guardsmen to cities for the express purpose of aiding deportation and immigration enforcement efforts?
To expand deportation efforts?
Sending National Guardsmen to U.S. cities for the express purpose of aiding deportation and immigration enforcement
What
efforts.
we've done so far is stand alongside federal law enforcement in every way, facilities and personnel, but also we have a great deal of lift inside the military. We're able to move assets in a way that no other aspect of the U.S. government can. And so where we can rapidly assist with mass deportations, we have been happy to do that.
And then one more question, if I may. Is the administration at all supportive of potential measures to crack down or regulate or even ban apps that track ICE agents' locations?
What do you mean by that?
Like specific apps that are used to track the location of ICE agents?
I guess we'll do that. I'm not a big app guy. I'm not into that too much. I think Pam might be it. Let's go.
Yes.
Give me a good answer there.
Yes. These organizations, President Trump, are coming in and their apps to track our federal law enforcement officers, and it jeopardizes their lives, where they're going to be, their location.
Can these
And we've
reporters stop
actually
being
been
narcs,
working
brother?
really well with the
There are very few reporters in that room that aren't fucking dick riders of the admin. And the ones that aren't dick riders of the admin barely are able to get a word in edgewise. And when they are able to get a word in edgewise, is oftentimes immediately shut down. So it's this is his press pool. This is his administration. This is straight up. Why do you hate black people, Hasan? Oh my God. Oh. Anyway, let's keep going.
David, where you did this,
this is the administration. This is a fascist administration,
show no mercy on the cartels and employ
a big part of developing a coherent fascist movement requires destroying an established consensus reality and rebuilding it in the ways they see fit, mythologizing a superior white group of people, like a white in-group, okay? Leaning into pre-existing white supremacist values that already are fundamental to American existence and American inception. Destroying all of the enemies, constantly reinforcing the dehumanizing language around victims of the administration.
Guy is paying for all that stuff. And we don't mind protest. Protest is a good thing. I protest. I'm always protesting, right? But when you see some of these people are going crazy. They're going crazy because they're getting paid. Because there's no reason for them to be going crazy. But you watch some of them, and they're professional agitators, and we are finding out who's paying them. Yeah, we have a lot of information about who they are. You're going to be very surprised when you find out.
No, we won't, because you're going to make it up.
Sir, a memo circulating on social media details the establishment of a National Guard response force that's going to be trained in crowd control and civil unrest and deployed in all 50 states by April of 2026. Can you verify the authenticity of that memo, and do you have any more information on the operations?
I'm not going to answer particulars on something that may be in the planning process, but we definitely do have multiple layers of National Guard response forces, whether it's in each state, whether it's regionally, whether it's Title X active duty, whether it's Washington, D.C. We've got a lot of different ways that constitutionally and legally we can employ Title X and Title 32 forces, and we will do so when necessary.
Thank you. President Putin basically said today that Russia is immune from U.S. sanctions. He said that it would not impact the Russian economy in any serious way. Is he
Good.
wrong?
I'm glad he feels that way. That's good. I'll let you know about it in 6 months from now. Okay. Let's see how it all works out. Yeah. Go ahead, please. Blue.
One about the shutdown. I'm Taylor Poplars with Spectrum News. The same day you established this task force back on January 20th was the same day you pardoned the January 6th defendants.
Yeah, very proud of that. Yeah.
Just last weekend, one of them was charged with allegedly threatening to kill House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. And a big theme of this task force has been allowing law enforcement to do their job and holding accountable people who go after law enforcement. Do you worry that your actions back on day one undermine what this task force is trying to accomplish?
No, you have thousands of people that we're dealing with, and you know, if one goes haywire, look at what this guy in Virginia said, where he wanted to kill his opponent. He's going to kill his opponent. He's going to kill his opponent's children and I think wife, and he continues to run. And the Democrats continue. He's running for what, Attorney General in Virginia. Look what he said. So now, do you think all Democrats should be prohibited from living anymore? I mean, think of what he said. He's going to kill his opponent, and he's going to kill the children of his opponent, and I think the wife. I said, this guy's sick. That is a sick guy. And how do you vote for somebody like that? But I don't view that every Democrat would say that, because not every Democrat would say that. So you can't, you know, you could have one person, but I don't know of the incident. I can say we're very proud of what we did. We had the courage to do something that should have been done. The problem, sometimes the Republicans are too nice. They're a very nice party. The Democrats play a much dirtier fight. You know, it's amazing. You go after dirty cops like Comey, and you go after, these are dirty cops. Letitia James is a dirty cop. You go after these people, and they say how horrible you are, and yet I got indicted 5 times and impeached twice. Nobody says anything about that. You know, they say, oh, they actually said the other day, oh, he's trying to indict somebody. Got indicted 4 or 5 times, Todd, maybe more than that. Yeah, I think you could say 87 times if you really think about it, right? With the charges, a bunch of phony guys, but nobody says anything about that. But they mentioned it the other way. No, the Democrats play a very dirty game. It's all they're good at. They're good at a couple of things: cheating on elections and playing very dirty. And they have one good trait: they stick together. They stick together. They stick together through the worst policies that anybody's ever seen. It's unbelievable how they stick together. And I respect them for sticking together, but it's a dead party because their policies are no good. Okay. Brian, we'll do a few more and we'll go home.
Wonderful.
Everybody's going to go home. I'm going back to the Oval Office, however.
Speaking of Democrats, there's a report that there's a grand jury on Adam Schiff for apparent mortgage fraud. If he is indicted, should he step down as a U.S. Senator?
Well, you know, I'm not going to comment on that. I would just say Adam Schiff is one of the lowest forms of scum I've ever dealt with in politics. He's a horrible human being, very dishonest person. I have no idea what's going on. You tell me that he's going to be indicted. I don't know. You could ask Pam. I don't know if she could say it. Probably you are allowed to say it, but I wouldn't know about that. I can only tell you he's a very bad. I think he's actually a sick person. Do you want to talk about that?
We're not going to comment on any grand jury that's open. We can't legally.
I don't know. By the way, I hope it's true, but I don't know anything about it. Yeah, please. Oh, millions of dollars, yeah. Well, I also give, I give a lot of money to the White House. The White House is, as you know, I give my salary, and I usually like to steer it to the White House because this house was a little bit abandoned. First of all, for 4 years, you had a guy walking around that didn't know where the hell he was. And this house was not taken care of the way it was supposed to be. I take very good care of property. I was very good at that. And you'll notice the floors downstairs, I paid for them. Marble, the most beautiful marble you've ever seen. The white floors down in the Palm Room, which were They look like they came out of, I don't want to lose because they're big supporters of mine, Home Depot, so I'm not going to say bad, but they did come out of a box from Home Depot about 30 years ago. They were all broken, but now they have the most beautiful floors, the most beautiful lights and chandeliers. I think most of you, Brian, you've seen that, right?
Yes.
How beautiful is that? And I take care of it. So I spend millions of dollars on this building, taking care of it. It was not properly maintained. And now it's starting to gleam like it should. It should really gleam. And you should go down and visit the Presidential Walk of Fame. Have you seen it? It's quite good. I'm sure that a lot of people coming to the White House. It's hot. It's very hot. But it's really a tribute to the presidents, past presidents of our country. Yeah, please.
Mr. President.
Yeah, behind you, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
So on Monday, a question for you as well as Secretary.
He's not
Noem.
funding the renovations. He's not funding the ballroom. It's actually being funded by Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, and Amazon. Or I think maybe Palantir. It's so do with that information what you will, but it's not coming out of his pocket. It's coming out of the pockets of major donors to
They
the
look like
administration.
maybe the Hispanic individual. Do you have a response to that?
Are you asking me that question?
You as well as Secretary Noem.
They are arresting bad criminals, and they're really good at it, too. I look at the numbers, they always like to say that, oh, you're arresting this and that. Then when you check it, you find out, geez, almost every single time, and, obviously every once in a while they may get one wrong, but they always correct it. They're able to correct it. But they are arresting really bad people. They're arresting people that kill, people that would cut your throat and not even care about it. These are brave people, and it's very dangerous. And if they go even a little bit too far, they get into trouble, which is a shame. I protect them, but they get into trouble. But they're arresting very serious criminals, and they're getting them out of here. Okay, one or two more. Doug, do you have a question? I'd love to have Doug have a question, our great photographer, because he's such a great guy, and he might be the most talented person over there. I don't know. Go ahead. Let's hear your question. This guy's a real beauty.
On the cartel strategy, hearing you talk about it as a war, hearing Secretary Hegseth talk about defeating and destroying and the comparisons to ISIS and Al-Qaeda, those efforts took American troops being engaged in foreign countries. Do you think that's ultimately where this is headed with the cartels, having American troops in countries like Venezuela?
No, the cartels are very bad. They have a lot of bad people coming in. They were interviewed recently, and they were asking people what their problem was, and one guy said, yes, I'm up for murder. Didn't know what he was saying, obviously. I'm sure his lawyer was not thrilled with his statement, but no, they're rough people coming into those cartels. Those cartels are rough. You look at what happens, the trip up is horrible, especially for women. They're being killed, they're being raped at levels that nobody thought even possible. In my opening speech, I mentioned that, but in a very light way. I mentioned the word rape. Then I found out that you take a look at what happens in those cartels. It's horrible what's going on. And we're doing the world a big service by just telling them, you don't have too many cartels now because they know when they get up here, they're going to be stopped. Under Biden, they were just flowing into the country. It didn't matter what you were, where you came from, what you looked like, what your record. They didn't check records. Millions of people came into this country that should not be in our country right now. We've gotten a lot of them out. It's the single biggest problem that we were given. Inflation, I've already taken care of. Economically, the country is the strongest it's ever been. Thank God for tariffs. If we didn't have tariffs, we'd be a third world nation. But thank God for tariffs. We're the richest nation in the world now because of tariffs. And we're able to economically protect ourselves, and we're able to really protect ourselves from a national security, situation. But we have cartels that, somebody came up with the word cartel. I won't tell you who that person was, but you got a lot of bad people in the cartels. And you could look at a country like Mexico, and I really respect the president. I really respect a lot of the people over there, but a lot of the leadership. But they are in fear in their own country because those cartels are running those countries, okay? And that includes Colombia. Colombia is a drug den. It's a drug den, and it has been for a long time. You got a lousy leader over there right now, bad guy, a thug. But they make cocaine at levels that we've never seen before. and they sell it back into this, and they're not going to get away with it much longer. We're not going to put up with it much longer. Colombia is very bad. Mexico is run by the cartels. I have great respect for the president, a woman that I think is a tremendous woman. She's a very brave woman.
See, I don't know why he loves
cartels,
Claudia.
and we have to defend ourselves from that.
Even he loves Claudia.
Go ahead. Let's go with you. Go ahead.
He loves her, and he loved AMLO too. But also at the same time, he's like, well, we're going to have to bomb you.
Resolved by the time I resolve. I don't know. I said long ago, we shouldn't have been in this problem. This was September 28th. It came due in Biden's regime, and before the election, September 28th, and they pushed it off into the future. And I was running when
I'm going to
they
be
did
honest, not to get all blue and on with this shit. Motherfucker said, let your dog go, bro. Brother. Okay, anyway. I think, not to get all blue and on with this, but I do think that Donald Trump wants a war, any war, where he can enact martial law. Like any war whatsoever, so that there's no more elections, okay? Any war. Whether it be a border war with Mexico, whether it be boots on the ground in Venezuela, whether it be drone strikes in Colombia, or whether it be civil war internally, like trying to foment some kind of civil war inside of America by sending the National Guard to different, like various different states, blue states, so that there is enough of a response that justifies even further militarization, and then all of a sudden everything erupts. I feel like he's just not, he does not speak like the type of person that is ever going to be reelected. He doesn't speak like he is worried about the future of the party. Now, that could be because he's a fucking narcissist and he doesn't give a shit what happens once he's out of office. Or that could be because he looks at the likes of Vladimir Putin and Recep Tayyip Erdogan and says, I want to be like that. I want to be a leader of this country no matter what, without elections or only fake elections until I die. And then I can pass it on to one of my fucking dumb fuck cocaine addicted fail sons. Your Constitution doesn't have that. You had elections during the Civil War is so funny, dude. I love that. I love the mentality. I love it, dude. You're right. You're right. You're so right. Wait, you're right. The Constitution. How could I have forgotten about the fucking Constitution? Why didn't I think of the Constitution? Excuse me, sir. I'll have you know this is illegal. Yeah, okay. You know what? You know the two most important parts of the American Constitution are the First Amendment, okay, and due process. Those are like fundamental, okay? It's more consequential and more significant than the Second Amendment is, all right? Regardless of how much people LARP about loving the Second Amendment to protect the First, right? Look what this administration is doing with that right now. They're wiping their ass with not just the fucking Constitution, but the Magna Carta, okay? So they don't give a shit. I don't think they give a shit at all about the Constitution. I think this is just about power. At this point, the Constitution is just a hurdle that they have to overcome. And they will do so by eroding it slowly but surely through a process of targeting people that are less powerful, right? Targeting people within the confines of the pre-existing permission structure. That's why you don't just go after the First Amendment immediately by arresting and prosecuting American citizens. You go after it by arresting and prosecuting and trying to deport non-citizens, legal permanent residents. Okay? That is how it starts. First, it starts with non-citizens under the guise of immigration enforcement, right? What he considers to be an area of strength for him and his base. Then it slowly but surely moves on from undocumented immigrants, which are still constitutionally protected, by the way, to documented immigrants. And then slowly but surely, we move towards a process of denaturalization, okay? All of these things are happening right now. And it's not like it's unforeseeable. They wrote it. They wrote it on a piece of paper and they released it on the internet, okay? Project 2025, Project Esther. These are long-standing goals of this administration. These are long-standing goals of the Republican Party, the reactionary movement in this country. And they have been working for decades to implement these processes. The unitary executive theory is something that has been around since the 80s and 90s. At first, a whisper campaign, and now something that basically is unquestioned. A big part of the reason why Donald Trump can just like laser people. A big part of the reason why Donald Trump could just like laser people with his military off the coasts of Colombia and Venezuela is because of pre-existing attempts before him to give more unfettered, unrestrained power to the executive office. And the final safeguard that is supposed to exist within the judiciary is the Supreme Court of the United States. And we all know what happened there. It's over. The Supreme Court of the United States is completely captured. The very fact that the Democrats didn't do something about that by expanding the courts was a major mistake. It was a major failure.
这都非他犯到我们的企业版内，这里本身当家做主人，一夜一次又两爱的退的话。